You may know about Oskar Schindler, the subject of the Oscar-winning film Schindler's List. You may have even heard about Swedish diplomat Raoul Wallenberg. Both are rightly celebrated for saving thousands of Jewish lives from the Holocaust during World War II. But there's another person who deserves recognition, a Portuguese diplomat who defied direct orders and helped an estimated 30,000 people escape the Nazis, many of them Jews. Last week, on the 71st anniversary of his death, the city of Funchal celebrated the bravery of Aristides de Sousa Mendes by unveiling a bust in Old Town, overlooking the city's port. On hand was Mendes' great-grandson, Francisco de Sousa Mendes, who lives in Madeira along with other members of the former diplomat's family.
A minha palavrinha requeria bocadinho sobre a designação de herói. Penso que é este o caso verdadeiro de um herói. Uma pessoa que pôs em risco toda a sua vida e a sua felicidade com os seus cônjuges para salvar 30 mil judeus de um campo de concentração nazi.
Attendees also heard the words of Sousa Mendes himself, as read by student Guilherme Ficres. This was from the 1940 disciplinary hearing where he defended his defiance of direct orders.
Era realmente meu objetivo salvar toda aquela gente, cuja aflição era indescritível.
First, a little historical context. Germany had just invaded France, and World War II was engulfing Europe. The tiny country of Portugal was desperately trying to maintain its neutrality. On one hand, it had the Anglo-Portugal Alliance, the world's oldest diplomatic agreement signed in 1373. On the other hand, the brand new Iberia Pact signed in 1939 had more or less put Portuguese dictator Antonio Salazar in the camp of Spain's leader, Generalissimo Francisco Franco, a known Hitler sympathizer. In that vein, Portugal issued what has been called Circular 14, essentially prohibiting diplomats from issuing visas to refugees fleeing from the war. Once Hitler's forces had entered Paris, thousands, if not millions of refugees began flooding the cities of southern France, such as Bordeaux, where Aristides de Sousa Mendes was Portugal's consul general. Sousa Mendes was acutely aware of the suffering and desperation inside and outside the consulate. He was also acutely aware that violating Circular 14 would get him fired and impoverish his large family of 14 children. Already quietly issuing a few visas, Sousa Mendes met and befriended Rabbi Chaim Kruger, who had fled to Bordeaux from Brussels. Sousa Mendes offered to give Kruger his travel papers, but the rabbi refused. "It is not just me who needs help," he told Sousa Mendes, "but all my fellow Jews who are in danger of their lives." Retreating to his bedroom, where he apparently agonized for days, Sousa Mendes emerged with this declaration: "I am going to issue a visa to anyone who asks for it. Even if I am discharged, I can only act as a Christian, as my conscience tells me." With the help of Kruger, family members, and a few consulate employees, Sousa Mendes set up an assembly line to issue visas on a mass basis. Among those to receive them were the artist Salvador Dali and his wife Gala, Casablanca actors Marcel Diallo and Madeleine Lebeau, and two German Jews named Hans and Margaret Ray, who had narrowly escaped Paris before the Nazis invaded. In their possession was an illustrated manuscript of a children's book that would soon make them famous. Curious George. The assembly line kept churning out visas on a whirlwind basis, with Sousa Mendes resorting to signing scraps of paper if he needed to. These visas were the vital documents needed to board the many passenger ships coming in and out of Lisbon. As Sousa Mendes shifted his efforts to other nearby French coastal cities flooded by refugees such as Bayonne and Hendaye, Portuguese officials were getting wind of his efforts and were not pleased. Just a month after launching his operation, Sousa Mendes was recalled to Lisbon, where a disciplinary hearing was held and he was demoted. Salazar, Portugal's dictator, went a step farther, ordering the immediate retirement of Sousa Mendes, and then he ordered the files in the case closed. Sousa Mendes died April 3, 1954, impoverished and largely forgotten. but his family members went on a long and ultimately successful campaign to restore his honor and recognize his bravery. In 1966, Sousa Mendes was the first diplomat recognized as righteous among nations by Yad Vashem in Israel. In 1987, after relentless campaigning by the diplomat's youngest son, John Paul, Portugal awarded Sousa Mendes a posthumous Order of Liberty Medal. The next year, the Portuguese parliament unanimously voted to dismiss all charges and restored Sousa Mendes' full status as a diplomat. Today, an American foundation bears the name of Sousa Mendes. His family home on the mainland is being restored. TAP Airlines named a new plane after him in 2014. And of course, the new sculpture in Mirador do Socorro. Appropriately enough, just a short walk from Funchal's old Jewish cemetery, and several houses that housed Gibraltar's Jewish refugees during World War II. On Saturday, Jews all over the world will celebrate Passover. Here in Funchal, Patty, Happy, and I plan to attend our first Seder in Madeira with other members of this island's tiny Jewish community. We will celebrate our liberation from Egypt and also perhaps say thanks to the men and women who gave us Jews glimmers of hope during some of humanity's darkest days. Men like Aristides de Sousa Mendes.